Hey everyone, Ryan here, or MandRproductions, and welcome to episode 145 of Ask MNR. If you guys have a question you want answered next week, leave it down in the comments section below, and while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button. Let's go ahead and get into it, because I picked a ton of questions for this week's episode, a lot more than I usually do. So first one from Jaden says, what's your favorite LEGO Star Wars Advent Calendar mini build? And this is something I should totally do a video on, but I actually have a few that I think are some of my favorites. I definitely think the Jabba Sail Barge should be up there in my all-time list. I also really like the more recent Grievous Starfighter micro build. I thought that was pretty well done, as well as the Republic Frigate. Just looks really good in that dark red color. I think that one's certainly underrated. And because I looked at all of them, I did notice the original Advent Calendar had probably the worst Advent Calendar micro or mini build, and that goes to the AT-AT. It sucks. It's really bad. You can see that it just wasn't there in 2011. They've come a long way. Zachariah Hussein says, do you ever think there'll be a LEGO Star Wars set that exceeds 10,000 pieces? If so, what set do you think it would be? So there's a few options that immediately come to mind. A UCS AT-AT or a Death Star. That's about it. I mean, I can't imagine them really breaking that with anything but something super iconic, because LEGO is really scared to try things. They were scared to try a UCS Slave One, if you can believe that. They were. They didn't know if it was gonna work because it was such like a niche ship or something like that. It's literally a classic, and they were still scared to do it in UCS form. So for something to hit that 10,000 piece mark, which would come with a very high price point, it would have to be something super iconic and quite likely like really micro scale. Like, I don't know. An AT-AT or a Death Star are kind of the only things that come to mind as things that would take that many pieces. Maybe the Millennium Falcon if they ever did another one that was even bigger, but that just seems insane and so unlikely to me. Honestly, we may never see a set hit 10,000 pieces. It really is a high bar to hit, and I think the Coliseum that's coming out is like 9,600. That's not even 10,000. Zachary Van Dyke says, what figure would you like to see be remade soon with a new design? So he says the B1 Battle Droid, but my answer is Super Battle Droid, and I think it's for good reason. The Super Battle Droid has historically been really brittle as far as the arms and the legs go. All of mine have snapped. Maybe not all of them, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of them snap, right? They have a really tight connection. A lot of them snap. The torso looks really good. It's a really accurate look to the Battle Droid, or Super Battle Droid rather. But I would like to see them redo from the ground up the Super Battle Droid. The legs need to be redone, redo the torso and everything while you're at it, and then the arms, because the connections and everything just, they always seem to snap over time. Don Cheadle Official says, somebody has just broken into your room through the window and held you at knife point. Which LEGO set do you throw at their head to do the most damage so you can escape? So besides the absurdity of all of this and the fact that I would go for something much stronger than a LEGO set if someone walked in my room with a knife, I would probably go with the First Order Star Destroyer, just because, you know, it has that sharp shape. You can throw it at him. It's like a strong build, and I just feel like it's going to do a lot of damage. You know, hit him in the chest, that thing's going to hurt. Hit him in the head, obviously. If you're able to hit him in the head, that is definitely going to leave a mark. So definitely something that's like pointy and arrow shaped, because that just makes sense. Gabriel says, how do LEGO set leaks happen? Well, there's a variety of ways, not all of which I am willing to get into. However, more specifically to the most recent leaks we had with the LEGO Star Wars 2021 sets, I'll tell you how that stuff happens. So that is a retailer catalog that we got images of, and basically retailers, mostly in other countries that aren't America, because America, there's significantly less mom and pop shops selling LEGO. So the mom and pop shops outside of America tend to get these retailer catalogs, and in these catalogs, if you've ever seen the images, they obviously say confidential, don't take pictures of this, but the retailers need to get these catalogs ahead of time so they can figure out what things they want for next year's product lineup, and that makes sense. It's October, they need to know what they're getting in January at this point, right? So retailers get these catalogs that LEGO sends out that obviously you're not supposed to take pictures of, but some people take pictures of them, send them out, and then they are going to get in big trouble. There was some big hubbub about, oh my god, stop sharing these pictures recently because it's getting this person in trouble that had the retailer catalog. They shouldn't have taken a picture of it to begin with. It's 100% their fault. They get 100% of the blame, and they're going to get 100% of the consequence that LEGO bestows upon them. Whether that be legal action, LEGO disallowing them to sell their product, it can be anything basically that LEGO wants to do because they signed a contract that said, I won't share this stuff, and then they did. That's one way they can happen, and then there's probably dozens of other ways LEGO leaks can happen, but that is not for now. The Awakened Builder wants to know, and I've actually seen this a lot on the internet, which is kind of weird because I thought it was kind of common sense, but is there going to be a Turbo Force Friday this year? Turbo Force Friday last year had to do with Episode 9 The Mandalorian, and why do I forget what the other thing was? But there were like 3 things happening last year, and that's why it was called Triple Force Friday. And this year, there's no movie, there's just the Mandalorian TV show, and there's certainly no other third thing. So I don't know how you can get a Triple Force Friday out of that, first off. And there's no Force Friday this year at all because there was no movie. The whole conception of Force Friday for Star Wars, at least in the last 5 or so years, always revolved around there being a movie. So no, there will not be any type of thing like that. And it's not just a LEGO thing, it's a Star Wars thing in general. So it's like dropping the new merchandise for the new movie. So there will be no Force Friday until there's another movie, assuming they continue to go with that branding and whatnot. But you know, they'll do a big product drop, I'm sure, because it creates hype for their movie and their products. Thomas wants to know what version of the LEGO Droideka I think is the best or most accurate. So the one that I personally think is the best is the one from 2002, I think was the first year that we saw it, and it looks incredible. I love just the classic look. They used all those droid arms on it, and it just worked to me. So I like that one a lot. However, I think if we're looking for the most accurate one, I think that's probably going to go to 2011. I think 2011 actually did a really bang up job with the Droideka. Very underrated too, because it came in a super overpriced Target exclusive Naboo starfighter at the time. Comrade Memes wants to know if I'll be making a LEGO store because I have a lot of extra LEGO and it seems like I could profit from it. So maybe not in the vein that you're thinking, but like, I've kind of thought it would be cool if I had like a genuine actual like LEGO backed LEGO store where like I actually buy products from LEGO and sell it. And I think it would work because I have a pretty large existing base of, I guess, potential customers if I were to do that. I believe I couldn't ship outside of the US. I think the LEGO contract kind of would prohibit that. So it'd be like a US only thing. The problem with that to me though is like, where would I open the physical location? Like all the hot spots in Florida have their LEGO stores. I probably won't ever do something like that just because of how time consuming it would be for me, who likes to do other things with my time than run a business. But it certainly is an interesting thing to think about. It would be so fun to literally run a LEGO store for me. But yeah, I have other things to worry about, and that would take up a lot of time to actually run a business. Lori says, petition to get Ryan in the next visual dictionary next to the 501st Trooper. So you brought this up, and it sounds like a great idea, and it crossed my mind. They are at some point going to make another visual dictionary. And the only thing I can think that comes close to what I did with the 501st Battle Pack is the Mon Calamari Cruiser. So I have here all 3 versions of the LEGO Star Wars Visual Dictionary. The one from like 2009, 2014, I want to say here, with the silver and the Boba Fett. And then most recently, 2019, kind of the 20th anniversary style version. And I was thinking the Mon Calamari Cruiser was the Toys R Us vote, and it would have some mention of the Toys R Us vote. And what I didn't realize with these books, because I had never compared them like this, is that literally all 3 sections for the Home One Mon Calamari appear to be the exact same. And my disappointment is immeasurable. My day is ruined. They also removed Leia in the most recent one from the Tantive 4, but kind of kept everything else the same. I don't even know, bro. Yeah, so I don't expect anything about that, like, at all. I also looked in the back and could not find any mention of the Toys R Us vote, so I highly doubt we will see anything cool like that. LEGO doesn't seem to care to do that. They will do this, though, I guess, and show people's mocks, but God forbid you actually acknowledge the people that made you create a product. That'd be awesome. Yeah, don't expect anything. It is what it is. Also, hey, look, it's Farm Boy Luke. What do you know? Star Wars Edits 05 says, do you think we as fans will appreciate the first 2021 wave more when it arrives? No, it's still gonna suck. The selection sucks. It's actually terrible. It's the worst wave probably ever. It's not gonna get better just because you're holding the set in your hand, I promise you. Gangsta Penguin says, with its resurgence, what are the odds of Avatar: The Last Airbender getting more LEGO sets, also specifically the Huge Ideas APA? I have no idea about the specifics on that, but Avatar in general, I don't see happening, and let me explain why. I've recently kind of changed my philosophy with things like this, because anytime something gets popular, people, you know, it's natural, I think the same thing too, you know, will this be a LEGO set? Can this be a LEGO set or theme? And people want to see it become a thing, because it's a thing they like, and they want to see the 2 things they like go together. It just makes a lot of sense. And so my thing with this is, a lot of these are fads, right? Avatar's kind of comeback and popularity was a fad. it was short-lived. And you can see this kind of represented in Google Trends. And it may not 100% correlate to how well LEGO said of a thing would do, but it gives you an idea of how popular something is, at least at a base level. And so Avatar: The Last Airbender really peaked in popularity back in the end of May, early June, right? Really peaked. And since then, you know, because everyone kind of watched it and did their thing, it's back to being not so popular again, very quickly. So by the time LEGO would have a set to market at best, early next year, maybe, it's gonna be nothing again. And like, yeah, it'll sell some units, but it just won't be what it could have been if LEGO could put out a product the day it's super popular, but obviously that's impossible. And so you can see this also represented in other things like Fall Guys. Fall Guys was super popular for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it's starting to wane back off. You can see it actually dropped very sharply, and that I actually didn't expect, but you can see it peaked and it dropped back very sharply down, and it's not like it's a dead thing or anything. That's something people just say to throw out there to say things, but it's certainly nowhere near as popular as it was a month ago, and will probably not reach that level of popularity again. Not to say it couldn't be a good fit for LEGO and its brand, but it's clearly not gonna have real staying power at its level that it was. Now, something that I think is interesting is Fortnite, and Fortnite I thought would be a great LEGO theme, and you can see Fortnite would have been a really good LEGO theme. Fortnite really has held its popularity throughout the years. You can see it has been waning, as most things do, but it's really held its popularity. And so LEGO would be looking for more something like that, I would think, if they wanted to bring something into the market. And that's not to say I don't think it would be a good LEGO set, or it's not something that I would buy, but I just don't think it's a good fit for LEGO, given that its popularity has gone right back down to almost where it was before it became super popular for a month or whatever. Now, one here that I actually almost don't believe is SpongeBob's popularity. SpongeBob's popularity has been slowly rising over the last decade, and that is shocking to me. I didn't see that when I looked it up, because SpongeBob is something that got denied on LEGO Ideas, and it certainly isn't because of a lack of popularity. It's even potential that LEGO is working on LEGO SpongeBob sets for the future, and that's why they couldn't do it. I don't know. A couple other interesting things here if we compare like LEGO SpongeBob to LEGO Star Wars. LEGO SpongeBob is like a blip on the map. I mean, it's just nothing as far as Google search volume goes. And even one of LEGO's in-house themes, LEGO City, hardly comes close to what LEGO Star Wars is as far as popularity, as far as Google search trends go. You know, it's entirely possible LEGO City sells more. It's hard to know. LEGO wouldn't tell you. I think LEGO Harry Potter may be the most comparable thing to LEGO Star Wars as far as like license themes goes. And you can see even LEGO Harry Potter has a hard time comparing to LEGO Star Wars. Now, it's not a giant gap by any stretch of the imagination, but there's certainly some space there. So I kind of went off on a tangent on this one, but probably not with LEGO Avatar, just because it was a fad. Wolf Production says, what is the most challenging LEGO set you have ever built? Not quite a LEGO set, but that gunship back there. It's a custom gunship by LEGO Spencer on YouTube. He's been one of my friends for a long, long time now, and he asked if he lent me his model, if I would do a video on it. That video is coming out, so keep an eye out for it. But it is certainly the most challenging LEGO build I have ever done, period. It is such a unique and difficult model to build, and it does look beautiful. Obviously, the ends justify the means. Those custom LEGO sets, I haven't built many of them, but it really takes some mental fortitude to sit down and actually finish a build like that. George H. wants to know which characters I think will be in the future Tidarium shuttle set, Rebels or parts of the Empire. So the most recent Imperial shuttle was kind of based on the Endor outfits and everything, and then the 2 Imperial shuttles prior to that were just kind of Empire specific. I would hope that it's an Empire-specific Imperial shuttle this time around. It would just make sense because the last one was the Endor version of things, and I would just hate to see them retread that again after only 5 years instead of something that they haven't done in 15 years with kind of Imperial minifigures for an Imperial shuttle. But personally, if I was going to bet on it, I would bet towards, you know, a couple of Imperial Royal Guards, a Darth Vader, and the Emperor. But then again, there's already a set with a couple of Imperial Royal Guards, Darth Vader, and the Emperor. So honestly, screw it. Probably Endor figures again. Paul Hawkins says, did you see that Brickset did an interview with the designer of the Mos Eisley Cantina? He confirmed the clips on the back of the Obi-Wan's hut were intended for accessories like blasters. He also confirmed that the 2020 Luke's Landspeeder wasn't considered a Cantina add-on. And he says he's personally not convinced by the second fact. I don't agree with the second thing either. The Luke's Landspeeder, while it may not be a direct add-on to the Mos Eisley Cantina, certainly goes well side by side. The reason I say not a direct add-on like a DLC type of thing is because it includes crossover stuff, right? It includes another Luke, and you already get a Luke in the Cantina, so that wouldn't make sense, but it does certainly go with the set, whether or not it was intended to do that or not. Now, as far as the Obi-Wan's hut thing goes, in that interview I did read through, but I feel like a lot of people, myself included, ran with the idea that it would connect up to something, and it made sense because the thing to me was there was no indication on the box, or I believe in the instructions in any way, that you were supposed to put blasters or weapons or whatever on those clips, and so that's why a lot of people definitely went in on the conspiracy theory that it would connect up to something coming later in the year. Zard Brick says, if you could have any sports memorabilia signed item, what would it be? And if it was signed, who would it be by? So if it was like a baseball player, football player, jersey, I don't really have like a preference towards that. I'm not super into signed memorabilia myself as it is, so it's hard for me to like go in on something like that. But like, I guess my favorite players of all time would certainly be up there on the list of people I would like to have signed things if I could. Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz, Paul Pierce, Jason Tatum, Tom Brady. I feel like those are the guys that if I could have something signed from, I would want it. This is a format of a thing I haven't seen before in LEGO. It's almost like, or it is like FMK, if you know what I'm talking about. And it's keep sealed, build, or sell between the UCS Cloud City, UCS Slave 1, and UCS Tantive 4 from Cade. So thank you for the question, Cade. And I would keep sealed the Master Builder Series Cloud City. I would build the UCS Slave 1 because it's freaking amazing. And then I would sell the UCS Tantive 4. So this is the problem with LEGO's marketing and messaging with their newer 18 plus lineup of sets, specifically with what he's about to talk about. And I also think the Elf Clubhouse is going to be a casualty of this. But Darth MMC says, my 14-year-old little brother wants the Mos Eisley Cantina, but doesn't know if he could build it because it's an 18 plus set. Would I recommend it? He has been collecting LEGO sets since 2016. So obviously I would recommend the set. I think it's amazing. If you've watched my review, I think that shows. I think the minifigures are somewhat disappointing, but you get like 7 brand new figs that we've never had before. So that's definitely worth something. But LEGO calling it an 18 plus set is kind of disingenuous because what those ratings I had always felt like are for are to like give you an idea of like the building skill required for it. And that's usually more important on the lower end, like 2 to 3, 5 to 7, 7 to 9. Like there is actually a significant gap in like building skill as little kids grow up. When you're like 13, 14 and on, it's all kind of the same, man. If it comes in a Lego box, maybe Technic is a different story. I don't want to get into that. But if it's a Lego Star Wars set, you're getting the same thing, whether it's, 18 plus or 12 plus as far as the difficulty of the build. It's not a difficult build. It's a long build. If you don't have the attention span to sit down, I guess, and do a long build, or don't want to, then stay away from something like that, and that's something you got to decide for yourself. But I can't imagine a 14-year-old would have any problem building a set like that. Like, I feel like the last time I needed help building a Lego set was when I was like 9, and that was with a UCS Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. I don't think it's that difficult to build Lego sets, man. And I think Lego's marketing and messaging with these 18 plus sets can somewhat be misfired in the case of a set like this set is clearly a play set. The Elf Clubhouse is something I think I mentioned in my review. I've mentioned it somewhere that having that marked as 18 plus is a real travesty because it's clearly not an adult set. It's a creator, Winter Village, get with the family, build the set, have a great time around the fireplace and the Christmas tree, and add it to your little play thing that the kids play with during the Thanksgiving dinner, during Christmas dinner. Like, those types of things I think are not good in very specific cases. So the 18 plus lineup is a good idea in theory, and it's worked very much in a lot of ways, but I think LEGO needs to not apply it across the board like they have. So Mos Eisley Cantina, if your little brother's 14 years old, I can't imagine he couldn't build the set. Question here from Fraser Bennett says, I value your opinions and vast knowledge on Star Wars LEGO and LEGO in general. Well, thank you so much, man. He says, so with that in mind, have you ever considered doing videos of the set value predictions for LEGO investors? So I have kind of mixed feelings on this. I feel like I could give decent advice on what I think will go up in value and where I think things like that may cap off and, stuff like like that. I think I could be good at that. Now, there are some cases very recently where things, you know, retire early and I never saw it coming, and then they went up way in value, like the Clone Scout Walker 20th Anniversary Edition or the Snowspeeder 20th Anniversary Edition. I was just shocked to see those retire so soon and go up in value so quickly and so much. You would not have gotten good advice on sets like that from me. Maybe I should do something like this. It's definitely worth me at least doing like a pilot video of, I feel like. My biggest worry with this though is when money gets involved and people are spending money to try and make money based on my advice, not to just enjoy a Lego set or whatever based on a review. Like, you're actually like, this is what you want to do with your money, and you want to try to go from $1,000 to $5,000, something that may be a little bit ambitious for Lego investing, but for the example, whatever. If I go out and give you advice that at the time I think is all good, that just turns out to not be as good of an investment as I thought, well, hey, all of a sudden, you come back to me and you're like, what the hell, man? Why'd you tell me this? I did this and it was bad advice, and now you're mad at me, and that's where I want to stay away from something like that. Now, kind of in that same vein, a little something about in my world happening right now is I'm trying to invest in stocks. So maybe I'll watch some like stock investing tip videos and see if like that's a good thing for me to be translating to my type of channel. Thor Benedict says, what is your phone's battery percentage? Well, something I do in my life, maybe it's something you can take away and do in your life, is I don't keep my phone's battery percentage on there. You can see it's not there. And I took that off many years ago because I felt like it's a waste of time to care about your phone's battery percentage. Why does it matter? It really doesn't. And when it gets down to 20%, it'll tell me and I'll charge it if I'm gonna need it. It's just a little like life pro tip, I guess, for you. Turn off your phone's battery percentage. Stop looking at it all day. It was something I had been doing, and I feel like 3 or 4 years ago, I turned it off, and I have never turned it back on. It literally doesn't matter. The Golden Brick says, do you know that LEGO has an underground vault in Denmark with nearly every LEGO set that they've made? Yes, I do, and I would love to visit it one day because I believe you can visit it, and it'd be a really cool thing to make like a YouTube video of and all that jazz. But yeah, it's a pretty neat thing, right? Like LEGO literally has a vault with all of their sets. Now, I find it kind of weird that you can visit it and actually apparently like touch and pick up the sets from what I've seen. Like, if it was my vault of Lego, nobody would be touching anything because I would want to keep everything pristine. But hey, it's still a cool thing for them to have and have everything down there and shown off if you want to see it. I did end up skipping quite a few of the questions that I picked just to try and keep it down here. So if you guys enjoyed it, like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you have a question you want answered on next week's episode, make sure you ask it down in the comment section below. And remember, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, my very first interview with a LEGO Star Wars designer. Check it out.